Hello everyone, my name is Akib Shavir and today we are going to look at day 23 of Advent of Cyber. This is an interesting task and today's task is all about PowerShell, event logging and investigation. So again, Advent of Cyber, we have so far covered a lot of interesting exercises and today we are going to look at something related to PowerShell. Before starting, let's spin up the machine and let's read out what the scenario is all about. One of the administrators with access to ELF DOM defense system realized that his password file was missing from his desktop. Without the password, he will not be able to log into the mission control panel. MaxKD suspects that perhaps one of the previous phishing attempts was successful. This is something that we looked at in day 19. Okay, MaxKD jumps into the action. You need to inspect the event logs, okay, to determine what has occurred and see if we can retrieve the password from the deleted text file. Learning objectives, we need to analyze the event logs to determine or understand the actions performed in an attack. We need to recover the key artifacts in unencrypted web communication, utilize PowerShell scripting to recover a deleted artifact. This is something that we will be learning today. Okay, PowerShell comes baked into the Windows operating system. It is beneficial tool for Windows administrators to automate day-to-day tasks. PowerShell has also been allowed adversaries to perform nefarious activities, a concept known as living off the land binaries. Now, before moving further, let's understand what is living off the land. Just to understand that, open Google and let's search for living off the land attack or binary to just understand what this is all about. So living off the land attacks refer to an attacker leveraging what is already available in the environment rather than bringing along a whole bunch of custom software and malware. Let me explain. Whenever an attacker compromises a machine, gains initial access, instead of downloading other application into the machine to perform further post-exploitation activities, attacker uses legit binaries which are already present in the machine to perform certain actions. How it is possible? Let's look at another link. Let me search for binaries and let me Google binaries. Okay, this is a project, LOLBins project. If I click on this link, and what it will tell me that there are 155 binaries which are legit, which are signed binaries, which are used for legit purpose, but at the same time adversaries use these binaries, let's say, to download certain files, to bypass security controls, to execute certain application for post exploitation. Let's look at bitadmin. Bitadmin is a Windows binary which is used to manage background intelligent transfer. Okay, but at the same time attackers can use this to download any malicious file. These are the examples of living off the land binaries. We can also look at certutil. Its main purpose is to handle certificates, but at the same time attackers have been found using this to download certain malicious applications and to encode or decode certain files and etc. So this was the example of living off the land. Now, do you think Linux also has living off the land binaries? So let's look at this. So we have 155 Windows binaries, legit binaries that are used for this purpose. Linux has 287 binaries which are used by the attackers to escalate privileges, transfer files, for the reverse shell and other post exploitation activities. So this is a new word for maybe you guys, so this is something that I thought to explain in a bit. Okay. PowerShell definition. PowerShell is basically a cross-platform task automation solution made up of a command line shell, a scripting language, and a configuration management framework. It runs on all the major operating systems. Now, from Defender's perspective, we can audit commands that are run in the PowerShell console on each workstation. This is known as PowerShell logging. When PowerShell logging is enabled, we can examine all the logs, what commands were executed, let's say 10 days ago, 20 days ago, and who executed it, who was the user, what was the path from which the script was executed. This is all we can examine if PowerShell logging is enabled. When a PowerShell command or script is run, the activity is logged into the Windows event log system. Main event logs are generated Many event logs are generated in Windows system, but the logs we care about today are PowerShell. Today we will only be focusing on the logs that are generated by PowerShell. Event logs are categorized by the providers such as Microsoft Windows PowerShell. Each provider has a specific event ID to identify a particular event or the actions that occurred on that particular workstation. The event IDs of interest today will be 4103 and 4104. Okay, it has talked about event IDs. So there's a link called myeventlog.com. Here we can search for the event IDs. For example, it has talked about 4103. Let's see what it is. So different providers have this event ID. Okay, now we are interested in the source, which is PowerShell. Let's filter this out and see what this is all about. So we will be looking into 4103, which is this, and what information this event ID gives us is like the user data, user information, the command path, and other related information. This is related to the module execution. Whenever we are executing a module, and this event will be generated. Okay, let's look at 4104. Whenever we are executing a script, this event will be generated. So these two are the events that are of interest today. Typically you will use window event viewer. Okay, let's look at how we examine event logs. Let's search for event viewer. Typically this is something that we use to examine Windows event logs. Okay, if we are looking into event logs, we will look into this and search here. Let's say we want to examine the PowerShell logs. We will go into application. Okay, this is also the PowerShell, but we will be looking at the Windows PowerShell. Okay, Windows and then PowerShell. This is one way of examining the event logs. Let's see where it is. Okay, this is PowerShell, and if we look at the optional, we can see total 951 events at the moment. This is one way of if we click on this link, we can look into further details of that particular event. But today we are not going to look at this. Rather, there's an application called Full Event Log View. If we click on this, it has the same data, but this gives us more flexibility into searching into the logs. How this is something that we will be looking into this now. Typically we use event viewer to view event logs locally on the Windows machine, but we installed a nifty tool called Full Event Log View to help make this painless experience. When we start, okay, now let's start this application. We are following all the steps that are mentioned here. Okay, started the machine, started the application, open the advanced. Okay, before applying the filters, let's see what tabs are important. We need to know the event time, record ID. Let's say this is not important. Event ID, this is important. the provider, we are more interested in the PowerShell provider, and process ID. Okay, the computer, maybe it can be informative for us. The user who is responsible for that event, particular event, it can also be critical for us. Okay, now let's follow the steps. Let's filter this out, and now it has multiple options. We can filter the logs based on certain, let's say, time period. Now, okay, let's say the event of interest on this endpoint took place a few weeks ago, especially during the week of November 11th, 2021. Okay, so based on this, the information that is provided to us, we can apply the filter. We can also provide filter for the, let's say, last 7 days or from and to. Let's apply filter to, let's say, uh, it's saying is November. Event was occurred on 11th, so we are just giving it from 10th to 12th, let's say. Okay, this, okay, sounds good. Next, it is saying show all the event IDs. No, we are only interested in the two specific event IDs, which are 4103, 4104. Okay, now it is saying show all the providers. No, we are only interested in the providers that has the keyword PowerShell. PowerShell. Okay, again, next, we can skip this. Show all the events with any event description. So now alternatively, we can search based on the string keyword. We can apply a string. We can, let's say, ask, look at all the events that has the particular string in their description, HTTP, and let's see what the results come. Okay, there are a total of 7 events shown here. Okay, so it means there were 7 events that had these event IDs of our interest. Okay, so what I am going to do is I am going to view in full screen just to make sure that things are a bit clear. Okay, give me a second. It will take some time. Meanwhile, let's straight. Okay, based on that information, we will be, based on the information that is provided to us, we will be resolving, answering the couple of questions. Okay, now we have a good full screen. Good. Okay, there, let's first understand these 7 logs. Okay, uh, first, what happened? Okay, someone or the user, that particular user, downloaded using wget, downloaded this particular PowerShell script, and the output file, he saved the file into grep.ps1. Okay, what is this? This is something that we will be looking into this a while, in a while. Next, what happened? This is the actually the module which is the output file. Okay, this is the URL. Okay, let's look at this. This is the actual script, which let's Google this CVE value. What is this actually? If you Google this, this shows us that this is actually this proof of concept script by John, and what it does is actually this was a vulnerability that was found on Windows on in June, I guess. And what it does is it allows any remote user to execute arbitrary code, and it this vulnerability was found on the service spool. Let's check this out. PowerShell and let's get service spooler. Okay, this service is actually running, means this machine is actually vulnerable to this particular exploit. Okay, what this exploit tells us is that it's a proof of concept, and what it will do is it will add a user this, and with this password, just to check. And okay, so this is about this particular exploit. Next, what is happening, this is actually the script block, and what it is doing is there's a variable name. Okay, can I, no, I'm not able to zoom this. Okay, what this is doing is there's a variable named file. It is getting the content of this password.txt file. Okay, there's a key it is using, and this is the key which it is using to encrypt that particular file or encode that file, and it is storing that data into this particular variable. And then interestingly, it is invoking a web request to this remote domain URL and into this remote IP with the method post, and it is sending that body, which the data that is contained in this particular encrypt data. Okay, then what this script will do is it will download this zip file and output into del.zip. Okay, then sleep for 10 seconds and expand this, unzip that particular file, sleep for 5 seconds, change directly into that del, and if we see, it will use that as delete exe and delete that file, password file that is stored in that password. Okay, let's look at this again. This is retrieving the file data from that particular file, encrypting it and sending it remotely, and then deleting that file. Interesting. Okay, next what it will do is, this is all about, okay, it will send this particular value into on this particular URL. Okay, interesting. And then the script that it will use is sendit.ps1. Okay, good. So this is interesting. You see that we are actually monitoring, investigating the logs or the script that were run on the 11th of November. Okay, then it will use this particular command to delete. It will, okay, it will download this particular tool, and let's look at the next. Okay, this is all the information. So let's understand, let's look at the questions that we need to answer today. So we have understood the concept, we have looked at the logs that are present to us, and the question, number question, what command was executed as elf to add a new user to the machine? Okay, if you look at this result, this answer, okay, so this function was actually executed, invoke nightmare. This is the name of that particular vulnerability. So let's try this out. Or we got a answer. Okay, what user executed the PowerShell file to send the password.txt file to the remote desktop? Okay, this is already we have found, and if we look at this answer, okay, this particular event contains the information about this activity. It is getting the password and it is sending. So if you look at the user tab, this is the user add1n. Let's answer that. Okay, let's see. Good, we've got the answer. Oh, can you tell what is the IP address of the remote server? Yes, of course, we have found that as well. So this is the IP address and this is the port number. Okay, if we paste the result and with comma, this is the format that we are going to use, 4321, and let's submit this. Good. Okay, what was the encryption key? Can we guess what the encryption key is and where it is? Yes, we can. It is over here. So this is something that we have found after analyzing the logs, event logs. Okay, so far I think this is interesting. Okay, good. The next question is what application was used to delete the password text file? Again, I think we have pretty much the idea what application was used to delete the password.txt file. If we copy this and paste it here and see if we have the right answer. Let's see. Good, we have the right answer. Now the next question is what is the date and the timestamp of the logs show that the password.txt file was deleted? We need to use this format to answer this. Okay, we can also look at the logs. We can also look at the hint as well. It is saying the update the advanced options to search for the deleted file. Okay, let's try this. Let's change the filter a bit. Advanced search, and from by removing this HTTP, let's uh, guess what we are going to add here. We are going to add the name of the password file. Okay, let's see how many logs have the traces of this particular file. Okay, there are three. This is the script, this is the module, and this has actually the actual command that was executed. See, delete file, and this is the actual file this was deleted. So when this was deleted, we need to give the timestamp. Okay, let's try to copy this, copy click cell, and see if we can paste exactly here. Let's remove this and see. Yes, we have the right answer. Now the last answer. This is interesting. What were the contents of the deleted password file? Okay, we can also look at the hint, and also if we look at this, there is a decryptor file at the in the desktop. Okay, if we, let's say, right click and edit this, what it is asking for the key and the encrypted data. Do you think we have this information? Yes, we have. We are very confident that we found these information. Okay, let's change the filter again, and let's add these values. Let's Okay, where we found the information about the data, and actually this is the data that was actually sent. Let me copy this and add it over here. Good. And do you think we have the key? Yes, definitely. So we looked at, found the key. Where? This is the key. Good. Okay, can we execute first? Save this file and execute this. Finally, so the answer is let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. I'm gonna copy this whole string and let's see if we have the right answer. No, I couldn't copy. Sorry. Let's copy and paste it over here. Okay, let's see if we have the right answer. Okay, we have found all the answers and we have solved this exercise. But here is an interesting exercise which you can do after going through all the exercises. Okay, I hope you understand what is MITRE attack. MITRE, your task is to Google MITRE Navigator. Click on this link and this is something that I think you will enjoy this if you haven't done this. Okay, our objective, next objective is to map whatever we have found, the techniques of this adversary. We have to map this in this adversary, in this matrix. Okay, just imagine, just think that the initial access was gained, the attacker gained the initial access through the phishing, and it was a, let's say, spear phishing attachment. Okay, we will change the color to red. Okay, from the execution, these are the tactics, the objectives of the adversary, and let's see how the execution was done by command and script in interpreter, and we can click on the PowerShell because we have found the evidence of PowerShell execution. Did the adversary did anything for persistence? Adversary created a user account, a local account. Good. This what I am doing, I am mapping all the attackers activities that we found into the MITRE's attack matrix. Okay, did we find any evidence of privilege escalation? Maybe, maybe not. Did the attacker did anything for privilege for defense evasion? You can look at this, how defense evasion can, let's say, use signed binary proxy execution, etc. Was attacker did attacker access the credential access? Did attacker did anything to, let's say, no brute force attack, OS credential dumping? No. We can look at a credential from password stores. Yes, we can look at this. The password was stored in a text file which was obtained by the attacker. No. Okay, how was there a discovery related activity? No. Little movement? I don't think so. Collection, the attacker actually collected the password. Okay, did he use any automated tool? No. We can did attacker use any tool to collect emails? No. We can also look at this. This is something that you will be doing on your own. Command and control, was the attack, we found any evidence of any command and control? Yes, attacker used HTTP application layer protocol to communicate, web protocols to communicate with the command and control. Okay, and if you look at the data execution, attacker used exfiltration over C2 channel. Yes, we found this. And next, what's next? Now the impact. What was the impact of this attack? Attacker did deface? No. Attacker wiped out the disk? No. Okay. Attacker deleted the data. If you recall, attacker actually deleted that particular file. So this exactly. Maybe I have missed something. So this is your task to actually understand what the attacker did and map all of its activities into the MITRE attack. This is your task. So I hope this was a fun activity for you guys. I really enjoyed working on this, and I hope you will learn in the coming challenges. I also hope that you will perform this fun activity. See you in the next video.